I grew up in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and grew up an avid sports fan. I played soccer, basketball, and lacrosse in high school. My journey in sports was certainly not linear, and I think that's just a really, important piece to think about. I had a chance to do a lot of different things that add value to what I do now. I played basketball in college, but from a work perspective, I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods, just in their team sports department, selling tennis rackets and basketball hoops during the summer. From a career standpoint, I was looking much more towards engineering. And so I was an engineering major at Georgia Tech, and then went on to do consulting. I was a consultant for 4 years before going to business school. And it wasn't until business school that I decided to make that transition into sports. Interned with the Ladies Professional Golf Association, and then I got a job with Top Golf, which brought me here to Seattle. You don't have to know from the very beginning what you want to do, and it's okay to explore and learn in lots of different areas before finding your way back to sports, if that's your journey. It's okay to pivot. I thought for sure I was going to be a physicist, and then I thought for sure I was going to be an industrial engineer, and then I thought for sure I was going to be a lifelong consultant. And as you can see, this trend has continued that nothing is for sure. I think the first step is thinking about college and thinking about how you continue to play your sport, even if it's recreationally. You don't have to be on varsity. I think if you can continue and play recreationally, that's still such a huge added bonus to your experience when you're thinking about college. I think the lessons just continue to come. Another goal I would, is to think about what you like. We like sports, but do you like finance and finance and money? Do you like coding and kind of the technology? Do you like social media? Do you like TV and broadcast or Twitch? Do you like that, kind of how you watch games? Kind of understanding what types of technology interest you, and it may be all of them, and that's okay too. I would set a goal of learning what kind of each one does, right? So learning a little bit about, sports and Twitter, or learning a little bit about sports and analytics. Pick your favorite sport or your favorite team and look at kind of all the different ways that they touch technology, whether it's their social media page, their digital pages. Sid mentioned marketing, and email marketing and email communications. Whether, if you're thinking about analytics, do they have any sort of player tracking in your, sport? And if so, what are some of the companies that, do that, and kind of reading about what they do. The side that I would say also just really opened my eyes was the side I'm on, which is the business side, where you start to think about analytics and you start to think about what were the financial impacts of things that are happening. Looking at, I would say, a lot of the modeling and analytics has been done in the past is based off of men and men's sports. And there's a whole new wave of what's to come when you think about women's sports and how do we grow those games, right? Do the same analytics and the same strategies that worked for the men, can you just port them over and do it for the women? And I think that's still to be determined. And I think that's what's just really exciting about what's to come when it, in terms of the sports industry and technology, and such a really great place for women to step in and say, we don't want to just use the old model. Like, we can come up with a model that's specific and works for us. An example I will give is player tracking, right? In sports like soccer or hockey, things like that. They used to just make like one version, and the model is typically based off of men. Well, now it's like, okay, but women's heart rates, women's bodies function very differently than men's. They're not all the same. And I think that's just such a cool thing that we're really just starting to get started on, is making some of this stuff really unique to women, and that's exciting. Definitely, subscribing to the WiST newsletters is definitely key, because as you can listen to the webinars of what different women do, right? There's just so many kind of options out there. So that'd be one piece I would definitely consider. And you don't have to change who you are in order to have a position in sports, or have a position in any career that you want. It is valuable to show vulnerability and to have emotion, and to be able to connect with people on an emotional level when it comes to your career. Earlier in my career, I thought that I had to be like men in order to get to be like a CEO, or to get to be, higher up in my career. And that's just not the case. You can be who you are and achieve those things. And I think that's just really, really, really important, that your traits and what you bring is really valuable to whatever organization you're a part of.
Want to learn more? Visit womeninsportstech.org to watch the full episode of this video and find out how WiST is driving transformative growth opportunities for women from the classroom to the boardroom at the intersection of sports, technology, and innovation. Change the ratio with us and join our community.